Hi, and welcome to the Get Started Fast with Avid Pro Tools S6 video series. My name is Gil Gowing, Pro Audio Solution Specialist for Avid. In this video, we're going to take a detailed look at the different ways to use the S6 Master Module. The first way we will use the Master Module is in Tracks View mode. This will give you an overview of all the tracks in your session. To get to this mode, either press the home switch on the left side of the touchscreen and then press the track switch down at the bottom of the touchscreen, or press the dedicated track switch under the WS switch in the lower half of the Master Module. This will show you up to 72 tracks that are in the current session. If there are more than 72 tracks, you can scroll through them by swiping up and down on the screen. You can view all tracks in a session or by different track types that are in the open session. Press the track type at the top of the touchscreen or swipe left and right to get to the different track types. Each square represents a track and contains the track's name, number, color, and metering. The metering will follow the session's meter ballistics and will show meters from mono to 7.1 surround. You can also see record, input, solo, and mute status as well. At the bottom of the tracks view, there is a menu bar of commands, from attentioning and selecting tracks to record, input, solo, and mute modes. By selecting one of these modes, you're able to apply that process right from the touchscreen. If in one of the 4 track modes, once a process is selected, you will get a clear button in the menu to clear all of that particular process at once. In select mode, there are 2 preferences for it, sum or enter cancel. Press the gear icon or switch in the lower right corner of the touchscreen to get to the tracks view preferences. If sum mode is selected, you can just touch on any track you want to select and it will be added to the selection. You can also swipe across multiple tracks to select as well. Selected tracks are denoted by a gold border. You can deselect a track by touching it again. You can select all tracks by holding the Option modifier down on the QWERTY keyboard or LED modifier switches on the fader module and pressing any non-selected track. You can also deselect all tracks by holding the Option modifier and pressing any selected track. If Enter Cancel is selected, touching a non-selected track will deselect any selected tracks. To select multiple tracks, you can hold down the Shift modifier and select any tracks between 2 selections, or hold the Command modifier down to select discontiguous tracks. You can also press and hold any track and touch other tracks to add to the selection. Below this menu bar is a track scroller that shows 8 tracks at a time. There is a color bar above these tracks that represent all of the tracks in the open session. You can scroll through the tracks by either swiping on the track scroller or touching or swiping on the color bar. You can attention tracks to the attention fader on the automation module in attention mode, denoted with a blue border. But there is also another use for the attention mode from the tracks view. If you go into the tracks view preferences, the gear icon at the bottom right of the tracks view screen, you can switch on the banking mode, auto bank to attention track. In this mode, any track you attention from the tracks view will not only show up on the attention track on the automation module, but the console will bank the attention track to the left of the master module, making it very easy to navigate around even the largest sessions with ease. You can even take this a step further by turning on the preference Display Breaks on Track Color. Now, every time there is a track color change in the session, there will be a break and the next color of tracks is put on a separate line in the tracks view. By color coding your tracks, it makes it very easy to see different groups of tracks in a session, and navigating those tracks to the surface is much simpler and will help speed up mixing, even in the largest of sessions. The next mode will explore a more detailed look at an attention track. This is the exploded track view. To get to this view, press the home switch at the bottom left of the touchscreen. To attention a track here, you can use the attention mode from the tracks view, the track scroller at the bottom of the tracks view or exploded track view, or the attention switch of a channel of the fader module. At the top of the screen is an 8-channel meter bridge that will display up to 7.1 metering with meter ballistics that follow your DAW, including gain reduction. A global meter bar to see an overview of all the meters in a session is above the 8-channel meter bridge. Like the track scroller, you can swipe left or right on the meter bridge to scroll to other sections of the session, or by touching or swiping the global meter bar. There are also preferences to allow for attentioning tracks from the meter bridge or link the meter bridge to the track scroller. In the middle of the touchscreen is an exploded view of the attention track. At the top of this section is the track's name and number. Below this is the function scroller that has all of the available functions for this particular track. You can swipe left or right on the function scroller to navigate to all the available functions. If a particular function is not being used on this track, it will not be shown. In the middle below the function scroller is an area that shows all of the parameters, up to 64 at one time. There are two different views for this area: all functions or selected functions. Switch from the gear icon at the bottom of the page. In all functions view, all the parameters of the attention track are shown, and you can swipe to scroll through them. In selected functions view, only the parameters of a selected function are shown. Also, when you select a function from the scroller, it will populate the 8 knobs around the touchscreen with the first 8 parameters of that function. To assign other parameters to the left or right knob sets, touch a parameter on the touchscreen, and a bracket will appear around the top or bottom 4 parameters in that column. Then, touch or grab a knob on the left or right side to assign that group of parameters to that knob set. You can mix different processes on the left or right side. You can access the parameters and make assignments from the knobs just like you can from the knob modules and the channel strips. For inputs, outputs, and groups, having the area be able to show up to 64 assignments makes it much easier to assign these functions with larger, more complex sessions. When selecting the Inserts function, this will show you the top level of what inserts are assigned to that channel. To get to the individual parameters of a particular insert, press the knob top of an insert or pinch out on the process scroller to get to the individual inserts and touch an insert to select. To get back to the top level of the Inserts view, press either the back switch on the bottom right of the touchscreen or pinch in on the process scroller. When accessing EQ, dynamics, or panning from the function scroller, there are also ways to see the EQ curve, dynamics plot, or expanded surround panner. The first way is just to touch the process from the scroller and swipe down. This will populate the knob set with that particular function and bring the function's display to the center of the screen. This will allow you to see a bigger view of the function's graph. And with the surround panner, you can use the multi-touch screen to pan both sides of a stereo surround track at the same time. Another way to get to these graphs displayed is to set the preference Auto Show Functions Graph on Knob Touch. Now, when you touch the knob of an EQ, dynamics, or panner, the graph will show up temporarily. There are in icons on the left and right sides to bypass or mute processes, and lock icons to lock a group of parameters to a knob set. Being able to lock EQ parameters on the left knob set, dynamics on the right, then drag down a surround panner to the middle make for a great hybrid editor. You can even populate the channel strip just to the left of the master module with another process like sends to give you even more flexibility. There are preferences that will give you the option of opening and closing plugin windows on your DAW when editing if you choose. So as you have seen, the S6 master module is control central of the Surface. From using the Tracks View mode to control many tracks and navigate the surface quickly, to going into Exploded Track View to have detailed control of a track, S6 does all of this with finesse and ease. Thanks for watching, and let S6 inspire your creativity.